There are mountain worlds in China so beautiful they feel almost unreal, yet they are rarely talked about. Far from familiar tourist routes, these ranges remain untouched, where mist lingers year-round and the land is quietly shaped by time. Here, rock, forest, and light blend together to form landscapes that are vast yet serene, existing beyond the pace of modern life. Very few people ever reach these places, not because they lack beauty, but because they lie outside the usual paths. Join us as we explore China's beautiful mountain wonders that few ever mention, where breathtaking landscapes quietly wait to be seen. Colorful Danxia is famous for its natural sandstone layers, covering hundreds of square miles, creating a landscape that looks hand-painted. The rock layers, formed from sediment over millions of years, lifted by tectonic movement, and oxidized to produce bands of red, orange, yellow, and white. Seen from above, the whole area looks like a giant geological painting with endless waves of color. What makes it unique is that the colors do not change by season, but shift depending on the time of day, especially at sunrise and sunset. According to legend, 7 fairies once wove silk here and left their bright fabrics on the mountains before flying back to the sky. Many visitors say the landscape looks like floating silk in the air because of how perfectly the colors blend. The best experience is walking or driving along high trails, or taking a hot air balloon ride to see the full stretch of color formed by nature and time. Fanjingshan features 2 strange rock formations known as the Red Peak and the Golden Mushroom, standing upright at the summit and connected by a narrow stone bridge hanging among the clouds. At an elevation of about 8,200 feet and with rugged terrain, The area remained isolated for a long period, preserving an ecosystem with thousands of rare plant and animal species. The vertical cliffs are covered with untouched forests, where thick mist often creates a quiet and pristine atmosphere. Some survey teams have recorded irregular magnetic field shifts in the deep crevices, while locals recount hearing bell sounds and chants from the clouds with no one in sight. At the summit, ancient buildings are strictly preserved, and traditional rituals continue in a peaceful setting that avoids the impact of mass tourism. Reaching the site requires travelers to pass through dense forests and steep, rocky slopes. What defines Fanjingshan is the complete detachment from urban life, where people enter a sacred and untouched environment. What makes Huashan Mountain distinctive is its steep, blade-like cliffs and narrow trails clinging tightly to the vertical rock face. At over 7 times 60 feet high, the mountain is formed by stacked granite slabs, creating sharp peaks connected by broken ridges and deep gullies. Along many paths, people must walk across narrow wooden planks, bolted to cliff walls, barely wide enough for one person, with sheer drops on both sides. The atmosphere shifts quickly as valley fog rises, covering the trail and making it feel like entering another cloud realm. Rock slabs at the summit show signs of wind erosion and time, with some even marked by impressions resembling hands or feet, recalling legends of ancient hermits. Sound nearly disappears on the mountain, leaving only the wind's whistle and stones knocking together as gusts sweep through deep cracks. Huashan is not just a mountain, it is a place where people confront the raw force of nature and the limits of their own courage. The landscape at Wugong Mountains captivates every visitor, with vast green meadows stretching above 6,200 feet. Soft grasslands wrap around smooth ridges interspersed with deep, narrow valleys, forming a diverse and harmonious scenery. Mist often covers the area during early mornings and evenings, creating a mystical atmosphere, with peaks seemingly floating in a sea of white clouds. Small streams trickle down from the summits across lush grassy slopes, adding lively sounds to the wide open space. Some granite slabs polished by wind and rain over millions of years form smooth rock surfaces clearly visible to the eye. The rich vegetation includes many endemic species and maintains a rare pristine condition on the plateau. Huangguoshu Waterfall is one of the largest and most impressive waterfall groups in China, standing about 253 feet tall and 331 feet wide. Its limestone terrain creates multiple levels of waterfalls, with the main fall plunging straight down from a vertical cliff like a giant white curtain. According to folklore, the waterfall was created when a water god drove his staff into the river to block floodwaters caused by a water dragon, forcing water to rise and spill over into the current falls. During the rainy season, thick mist surrounds the waterfall, and when sunlight shines through, rainbows appear across the water. This site is not only a natural wonder, but also a common subject in traditional Chinese landscape paintings and literature. With its unique geology and preserved environment, Huangguoshu Waterfall offers a powerful sense of nature's scale and force. Qishidangxia is a land of endless red rock formations shaped by erosion into steep walls, deep crevices, and curved arches that reveal the passing of time. The red sandstone layers here date back hundreds of millions of years, with clear stratification exposed like pages of stone shaped by wind and water. Many cliffs resemble boat hulls, animal horns, or open gates, creating a sense of entering a realm beyond the present. Inside scattered rock caves, ancient carvings, drawings, and pottery remains have been discovered, suggesting past habitation and worship. Qishidangxia is not only a geological treasure, but also a vivid archive of natural history and human legacy spanning thousands of years. Meiji Mountain stands out for its shape like a giant round tower rising from the forest with near vertical cliffs over 500 feet high, carved into hundreds of Buddhist grottos. The landscape blends natural formation and human effort, as ancient peoples sculpted directly into the rock to create Buddha statues and wooden walkways connecting the caves. Many large statues sit deep in the niches, facing open space, evoking a sacred stillness under the vast sky. The rock here is reddish-yellow, glowing vividly at sunset when light filters through trees and casts a warm hue over the carvings. Some parts show burn marks or cracks, evidence of past earthquakes and fires that shaped its history. From below, the wooden paths spiral around the mountain's body, forming a striking visual structure that both thrills and intrigues. Meiji is more than a scenic spot. It is a symphony of stone, wind, faith, and time. Kana's scenic area attracts visitors with its unique blend of conifer forests, glacial lakes, and snow-covered mountain ranges. The vast Kana's Lake changes color with the light, sometimes jade green, other times silver gray, and serves as the heart of the entire landscape. In 1985, a real event occurred when researchers observed large waves on the lake surface under completely calm weather, an unexplained phenomenon to this day. Surrounding the lake are ancient pine forests and alpine meadows, home to local people who pass down stories about the lake's spirit. When morning fog settles on the water, silence dominates, and even the sound of water dripping from leaves becomes clear. No loudspeakers or motor vehicles operate in the protected zone, giving the impression of stepping into a forgotten world. This is not just a scenic destination, but a place tied to collective memory and mysterious events still unsolved. Yandang Mountains attract visitors with rare vertical volcanic terrain, where massive stone pillars rise into the sky like natural columns shaped over time. The name Yandang is rooted in a legend of wild birds nesting on these high cliffs, adding a spiritual layer to an already mysterious setting. The area also features tall waterfalls cascading over 300 feet down rugged cliffs, blending with dense forest to create a dramatic and balanced landscape. Tower-like rocks, natural stone gates, and deep fissures stretch hundreds of feet tall, with a standout flat cliff face, often covered in fog and echoing in strange ways. Hiking trails weave through caves, narrow valleys, and ancient shrines carved into the rock, guiding visitors through a journey that fuses untouched nature with human history. These unique geological features make Yandang one of the few scenic areas that unite natural beauty, spiritual meaning, and rugged exploration. Mount Mian overwhelms visitors at first glance with sheer cliffs enclosing a narrow valley where waterfalls plunge hundreds of feet, forming streams that look like white ribbons floating in the air. The mountain's ridges curve like a dragon, hiding natural caves and strange rock forms, leading many to believe it once sheltered ancient hermits. A true story recorded in local history tells of a royal prince during the Song dynasty who fled to Mount Mian, built a secret meditation retreat inside a stone cave, and lived there in solitude for nearly 20 years until his death. The mountain also features temples, shrines, and towers built directly onto cliffs, connected by hanging wooden bridges that form a sky-high maze. When the fog rolls in, the entire mountain disappears into silence, leaving only curved rooftops and faded stone steps barely visible. Mount Mian is not a place for quick visits. It is a journey through majestic landscapes, living legends, and a spiritual stillness that lingers long after you leave. Taibai Mountain is the highest peak in eastern China, rising over 2,360 feet, known for its snow-covered summit and clearly layered terrain, transitioning from primeval forest to icy heights. Along the ascent, travelers pass wide canopy mossy forests, scattered shrubs, and finally reach bare stone slopes where snow remains year-round like a silent cloak of time. Small meltwater lakes lie quietly among the rocks, crystal clear and perfectly still. Strong winds blow through stone gaps, creating sharp howls that sometimes sound like voices echoing from the earth's depths. At the peak, large rocks bear ancient erosion marks, resembling nature's open records of millions of years. Once considered a place of concentrated spiritual energy, the mountain is tied to folk tales of hermits who meditated in the snow and mist. Each step on Taibai Mountain is a passage through shifting climates, ancient geology, and deep-rooted cultural layers that remain unforgotten. What draws immediate attention at Mount Lu are the powerful waterfalls plunging from over 3,300 feet, producing echoes throughout the mountain forest all day. The area contains hundreds of waterfalls arranged across multiple levels, surrounded by steep cliffs and granite basin lakes. The sharply divided terrain has formed numerous rock crevices, caves, and natural observation points. Historical records note that Mount Lu was home to many influential scholars from the Qin to the Tang dynasties, who left behind stone inscriptions, monastery ruins, and ancient walking paths. Today, Mount Lu remains a historically rich destination that blends active natural scenery with deep cultural heritage. The landscape of Dazhui Mountain features continuous limestone ridges forming distinct layered terrain around deep valleys and natural lakes nestled between rock outcrops. With an average elevation of about 4,200 feet, the mountain displays clear elevation shifts from gentle lower slopes to steep central cliffs. Small waterfalls and underground streams run along the slopes, especially active during the rainy season when water flow increases and mist covers many of the paths. Vegetation grows on both soil and rock surfaces, with ancient mosses, lichens, and moisture-loving plants clinging to vertical stone walls. Dazhui Mountain has preserved its natural topography, representing a high-value example of intact limestone mountain scenery. Minju Mountain stands out with high peaks and natural hot springs flowing through rock crevices, forming soaking spots in the forest without human treatment. The peaks here average about 5,200 feet in height and are surrounded by subtropical forests filled with medicinal plants, ancient ferns, and seasonal wildflowers. In the past, many Taoist practitioners came here to meditate and restore health because of the peaceful terrain, stable climate, and healing hot springs. Visitors can hike forest trails that lead to waterfalls, cliffs, and old meditation sites. Soaking in hot springs, watching the moon rise through the mist, and joining peace rituals are popular experiences at Mingyue Mountain. Mount Sanking is a vivid natural landscape with over 200 granite peaks, each shaped like a person, animal, stone bell, or sword rising into the sky. The average height of the peaks is about 5,900 feet, often covered in thick mist that shifts with the sunlight throughout the day. The three main peaks are named after the top Taoist gods and have long been honored as sacred symbols. A legend says that on clear days, people at the highest point can see three blue rays of light coming from the peaks, seen as a heavenly sign. Besides spiritual value, the mountain draws visitors with glass paths along cliffs that reveal wide cloud seas and strangely shaped rock formations. Mount Sanking combines unique scenery, ancient legends, and meaningful cultural exploration in one destination. Huangshan leaves a lasting impression with its towering granite peaks, wind-sculpted pine trees, and endless sea of clouds that together form a majestic and otherworldly scene. With more than 70 peaks over 3,300 feet high, the mountain is known for rock formations resembling dragons, mushrooms, or meditating figures shaped by millions of years of erosion. Pine trees grow out of cliffs with barely any soil, their roots gripping the stone and bending with the wind, becoming a living symbol of resilience against harsh nature. The sea of clouds appears year-round, making the peaks look as if they are floating in mid-air, creating a surreal spatial illusion. Ancient texts record Huangshan as a sacred retreat for Taoist practitioners since the Tang dynasty, with relics such as alchemy tables and carved stone steps still visible today. Today, visitors come not only to admire the view, but to feel the humbling presence of stone giants towering above the clouds. What makes the Tian Shan Grand Canyon unique is its towering, vertical sandstone walls, shaped by nature into massive red-brown cliffs like ancient stone fortresses. The canyon stretches across multiple layers of rock, with narrow passages barely wide enough for one person, making exploration both challenging and awe-inspiring. Light slips through cracks hundreds of feet above, highlighting rugged stone textures and flowing time-carved patterns like natural artwork. Inside the canyon, temperatures drop noticeably and sounds echo in layers. Each footstep, breeze, or rolling stone reverberates like it came from another dimension. Some sections feature bizarrely shaped stone arches, believed by locals to be gates of heaven, leading to sacred realms. Its raw beauty, striking formations, and mystical atmosphere make this not just a geological wonder, but a journey that challenges the limits of ordinary exploration. Yunhee Terraced Field's truly special is the rare combination of high-altitude farming and traditional water diversion techniques preserved for centuries. The terraces stretch from the foot to the top of the mountains at over 3,200 feet, curving gently along the contours of the land to form wide spirals across the valley. Remarkably, the local irrigation system uses earthen channels and stone trenches to guide water from mountain streams down each level, operating purely by gravity with no machines. According to local records, people have lived and farmed here for over 1,000 years, and old house foundations and hand-laid stone borders still remain among the fields. Yunhei is not just an agricultural wonder. It stands as a living testament to the enduring relationship between people and the mountain landscape. Bayan Baluk draws visitors with its vast highland grasslands combined with a winding nine-bend river that forms a rare natural symbol. The river doesn't flow straight, but loops gently through smooth grassy hills, creating the appearance of a silver ribbon when seen from above. Wild swans often gather on the river's surface, adding a peaceful touch to this vast natural space. The region is also tied to ancient nomadic legends, said to be a land gifted by the gods for its harmony of water, grass, and sky. In 1986, a team of geographers had to halt their survey midway when their compasses, watches, and navigation devices lost signal near the ninth bend of the river, an unexplained event that remains a mystery. Though the terrain is flat, it's framed by distant mountain ranges that act as natural borders to the grasslands. Standing here, one feels completely immersed in nature, sensing the silence and steady breath of the earth. Calacan's scenic area is known for its smooth grasslands stretching across the highland mountains where the sky feels endless and green colors spread to the horizon. During summer, wildflowers bloom across the hills, forming layers of color that shift with elevation, from pale yellow to deep purple. There are no fences or concrete structures, just faint trails cutting through grass and leading into distant pine forests. In 2003, A real incident occurred when a horseback team lost direction in sudden fog and went out of contact for 2 days, prompting local authorities to restrict movement zones for safety. At dawn, light pours in from behind the mountains, awakening the grasslands with a golden glow. Distant horse bells and wind, moving through grass, create a silent melody of nature. Callicoon is not just for sightseeing. It's where nomadic life, ancient tradition, and untouched highland beauty come together. Tiantai Mountain, truly unique, is its natural terraced landscape stretching for miles, with massive flat stone layers stacked evenly like giant platforms carved by nature. The mountain's structure features distinct levels, from steep cliffs to wide slopes, polished by centuries of flowing water, forming shallow basins that resemble open-air sky pools. The stone layers carry a reddish clay hue, dotted with patches of green moss, giving the mountain a look that's both ancient and vibrant, especially during the rainy season when water streams down, creating hundreds of shimmering silver lines. One mysterious phenomenon reported by researchers is magnetic field disturbance, detected in the central terraces, with no clear scientific explanation to date. At dawn, sunlight cuts across each stone level, reflecting off moss and water to create shifting bands of light that feel like the mountain is breathing. Visitors here are not only awed by its distinctive scenery, but also feel as though they've stepped into a forgotten relic of prehistoric Earth. Immortal Residence stands out from its name alone, suggesting a hidden retreat of celestial beings among humans. The rock formations here don't rise in sharp peaks, but flow gently like ribbons, creating an unusually harmonious mountain terrain. Sheer cliffs have smooth faces that reflect the morning light, casting a golden glow throughout the valley. On tall rock ledges, clusters of white clouds often gather, covering the paths and making visitors feel as if walking in the heavens. Some massive rocks stand isolated in strange shapes, leading locals to believe they are gods who once descended and turned into stone. The site has reported mysterious echo sounds with no clear source, believed to be caused by the rock's natural resonance box structure. Yuding Mountain is widely known for its modern Buddhist complex, positioned precisely at the center of 6 natural peaks, forming a rare spiritual axis among China's sacred sites. Although built in modern times, the temples, stupas, stone corridors, and plazas use materials that mimic natural wood and aged stone, blending seamlessly with the environment. Hundreds of stone steps lead to the main hall, not just for pilgrimage, but as a way for people to feel their pace in tune with the rhythm of the forested mountains. The entire area follows a Bagua layout, with a seated Buddha statue over 157 feet tall at the core, standing solemnly amid a valley wrapped in ancient rock and greenery. A unique feature is the open space design that lets natural light filter through architectural gaps, enhancing the site's serenity and sacred presence. Though not widely known, Liuding Mountain quietly preserves a peaceful spiritual space hidden within remote highlands rarely touched by mass tourism. Guani Valley stands out with limestone terrain shaped by erosion, forming deep ravines, steep cliffs, and clear mountain lakes. The area stretches across dozens of miles and includes old-growth forests, waterfalls, and clear streams running along the slopes. In autumn, the vegetation turns red, orange, and yellow, creating vivid reflections on the still lake surfaces. A local legend says 2 major peaks in the valley are the transformed forms of a loyal official and his geese, still calling each other through the wind in the cliffs. The name Guan-e comes from the shape of the 2 peaks standing opposite each other, as if leading a path through the forest. Visitors can hike through the forest, cross small wooden bridges, and follow the high lakeside trails with wide views over the valley. Camping overnight in the valley brings rare quietness, with running water by day and starlit skies at night, ideal for those seeking a break from city life and reconnecting with nature. With its mysterious beauty, the Amni Mashan Range lies hidden in the eastern Tibetan plateau, revered by locals as the most sacred mountain. Its highest peak rises over 2,600 feet, covered in eternal snow and ancient glaciers, forming a landscape that is both harsh and mesmerizing. The entire area remains remarkably untouched, with no cable cars or modern lodgings, only narrow pilgrimage paths used for centuries. This mountain plays a central role in Bon and Tibetan Buddhist traditions, with thousands of devotees walking around its base in Kora rituals to seek blessings and spiritual purification. Glacial streams descend from its slopes, creating a pristine water network considered sacred by surrounding communities. The harsh climate and extreme altitude preserve unique habitats for cold region primates and birds, some of which remain poorly studied. The blend of spiritual significance, physical remoteness, and unspoiled elevation makes Amnya Mashan one of the most mysterious and least known mountain ranges in China. What makes Zagana truly special is the towering limestone mountains rising from a broad valley, blending with traditional earth houses and scattered terraced fields on the slopes. The cliffs reach over 12,000 feet, with jagged surfaces carved by erosion into sharp blocks, narrow crevices, and twisting ravines. At the base of the mountains, long-established communities live in stone and clay houses with low wooden roofs, set quietly within the natural landscape. According to legend, divine beings once protected the villagers from disasters here, and some rock formations are still considered sacred areas that must not be touched. At sunrise, light passes through the mountain gaps, illuminating silver-gray cliffs and dark brown rooftops with a solemn glow. Zagana is a place where people and stone mountains exist together in stillness, giving the sense that time itself has paused. The landscape at Guangwu Mountain captivates everyone who sets foot here, with vibrant red forests stretching from the base to the peak, forming interwoven patches like a painted canvas. In the early morning, thick fog drapes over the mountainsides, and sunlight piercing through creates shimmering light bands over the red leaves, forming a surreal and breathtaking view. The terrain is diverse, with deep valleys, multi-tiered waterfalls, and streams weaving through dense tree canopies, adding a relaxing soundscape throughout the journey. A curious feature is a stone slab said to be the resting spot of an ancient scholar, which still emits warmth on autumn mornings despite the surrounding chill, an unexplained phenomenon to this day. Visitors can combine hiking with scenic stops at high viewpoints to take in the entire red forest landscape dotted with drifting white clouds like waves of colorful ink. With ever-changing beauty, depending on elevation and time of day, Gwangwu Mountain is truly a rare natural setting that fascinates both nature lovers and professional photographers. Hidden within the quiet highlands, Dihang Grand Canyon stands out for its towering cliffs that appear split by an unseen force. Soaring limestone walls, eroded over millions of years, have created a network of narrow chasms, vertical stone columns, and natural arches throughout the area. Many rock surfaces are smooth and gently curved, as if shaped by ancient water flow that once carved through the land. According to local legend, this canyon was guarded by divine beings who once marked the boundary between sky and earth, making it a sacred place even today. Unusual symbols are carved into stone near ancient trails believed to be remnants of lost ceremonial practices. When rain falls, water cascades down the rock layers in dozens of streams, filling the gorge with continuous murmuring sounds. Dihang Grand Canyon is not only visually stunning, but also steeped in myth and unexplored historical depth. Tianzu Mountain, truly special, is a natural stone pillar over 470 feet tall that rises straight into the sky, standing firm in a majestic, mountainous landscape. Surrounding it are granite peaks shaped by erosion into strange forms like stone bells, lotus pedestals, and heavenly gates. According to ancient texts, This was once believed to be a place where celestial energy gathered, attracting Han-era Taoist monks who left behind relics like stone platforms, meditation caves, and hand-laid terraces. A puzzling natural phenomenon occurs here. When wind passes through certain mountain gaps, it creates long, bell-like echoes throughout the valley. On days with low clouds, thick mist covers the area, leaving only the pillar visible like a sacred mark suspended between earth and sky. Tianzhu Mountain is not only a marvel of rock formations, but also a sacred space tied to ancient beliefs and unexplained natural wonders. What makes Tianzhu's high scenic area unique is the combination of rugged terrain, remote location, and unexplained natural phenomena. This area lies deep in the mountains, completely isolated from major tourist routes, and can only be reached by long forest trails or hours of mountain climbing. Its landscape features towering cliffs, hundreds of feet tall, layered primeval forests, and multi-level waterfalls that fall from high elevations like white ribbons in a green backdrop. Many natural rock formations look like kneeling figures or human faces, believed by locals to be fossilized traces of gods. Especially notable are the natural sinkholes that reach depths of hundreds of feet with no visible bottom, puzzling many geological survey teams. The most striking feature of Kulagangri is the commanding presence of its snow peak rising over 700 feet, with bright, permanent ice sheets stretching down its slopes like frozen rivers. The mountain remains snow-covered year-round, and large cracks reveal deep blue glacier trenches formed from ice accumulated over thousands of years. On clear days, sunlight strikes the surface and the entire mountain glows brilliantly, as if coated in silver. The thin air makes every step heavy, yet the silence is absolute. One can hear the wind brushing across the thin snow beneath their feet. Kulagangri is not only a research site for climate scientists, but also revered by locals as a spiritual mountain tied to ancient beliefs in snow deities' protection. The landscape of Kulagangri evokes a world apart, raw, icy, and sacred beyond words. The most outstanding feature of the Yarlung Grand Canyon is that it is officially recognized as the deepest canyon in the world, with an average depth of about 16,000 feet. This canyon was formed by a major river cutting through high mountains, creating a massive geological arc with steep cliffs and sharp bends. The terrain changes rapidly within a short distance, from icy peaks to dense and humid valleys, forming a unique transitional ecosystem rarely found elsewhere. The entire region remains in a wild and untouched state, home to rare species that thrive only in deep, moist environments. Scientists believe that the canyon floor may still harbor undiscovered organisms, highlighting the area's exceptional biological value. Local communities living along the canyon's edge continue traditional ways of life and maintain rituals tied to sacred rivers and mountains, preserving a unique cultural identity. The combination of geological depth, isolated ecology, and native culture makes this one of the most extraordinary natural wonders still unknown to most people. Jinyun Immortal Capital is a vivid natural painting marked by a giant stone pillar rising straight into the sky from the calm valley, standing prominently amid the vast mountain forest. Surrounding it is still water, gentle slopes, and drifting layers of mist that pass through the mountain gaps, creating a peaceful and mystical atmosphere. This over 300-foot-high rock was completely formed by natural geological processes, towering in a land covered with mist and ancient vegetation. Local folklore tells of gods stopping here, leaving behind rock formations shaped like altars, stone thrones, and deep footprints embedded in the stone. A unique phenomenon occurs here. Sounds from the base of the mountain can travel clearly to the summit without distortion. Yunqiu Mountain is known for its flat peaks, which resemble giant stone platforms rising above layers of white clouds, creating a rare landscape in China's mountainous regions. The area is densely covered in forest with diverse plant life, including many trees that grow directly on vertical cliffs, forming a thick canopy over the ecosystem. Accessing this area is relatively difficult, since most paths are forest trails, with many sections skirting narrow rock edges, steep slopes, and sometimes disappearing under thick vegetation. A strange phenomenon often reported by locals and travelers is the appearance of blue lights inside deep caves at night, with no visible source, sometimes moving gently like living organisms. Many people have also heard soft sounds like wind chimes coming from mountain gaps when fog rolls in, a phenomenon called singing clouds that has no confirmed scientific explanation. Some of the flat stone surfaces at the top of the peaks are almost perfectly symmetrical, showing no signs of carving, leading researchers to suspect they were shaped by extremely rare or unknown geological activity. The uniqueness of Tianshan-Tianqi is most evident in how a glacial lake can exist at the edge of arid desert land, forming a natural paradox that defies ordinary perception. Located at around 6,400 feet above sea level, the lake is entirely formed from melted snow atop year-round snowy peaks, with no outflow, resulting in an unusually still and crystal-clear water surface. The surrounding terrain features steep sedimentary slopes with minimal vegetation, providing wide open views and mirror-like reflections of the sky and snow-capped ridges. During the dry season, while nearby plains become scorching and cracked, the lake area maintains cool temperatures and consistent humidity, forming a microclimate that supports cold-adapted plant species not found elsewhere in the region. Local communities consider the lake sacred, tied to a regional legend of an ice dragon god said to sleep beneath its depths, a story passed down orally and unknown outside the area. Although access has improved, no construction intrudes upon the lake's shoreline, preserving its original structure. Jingang Mountains stand out with rugged terrain, vast old-growth forests, and well-preserved revolutionary sites from decades past. Mountain ranges over 5,000 feet tall mix with deep valleys and multi-level waterfalls, creating a bold yet balanced landscape. This was once the first base of the Chinese Red Army, where famous guerrilla battles took place by using narrow ridges, thick fog, and difficult terrain to defeat much larger enemy forces. One key victory was an ambush in the foggy forest, where a small unit defeated a big army with smart tactics and deep knowledge of the land. Visitors can hike along historic trails, view the landscape from high peaks, or join guided tours that recreate life in the old mountain strongholds. The uniqueness of Mount Juhua is most clearly seen in its rare combination of rugged mountain landscapes and a sacred religious atmosphere preserved through centuries. The range has over 99 peaks, many rising above 3,500 feet, covered in ancient forests and dense clouds that create a distinct sense of stillness. Historical records from the Tang dynasty state that Buddhist monk Jin Chaojue meditated and passed away here, turning the mountain into one of China's key Buddhist sites. Temples are built among the forests, some perched high on cliffs, making every pilgrimage step a deep spiritual journey. Large stone slabs, naturally shaped like lotus flowers, symbols of Buddhist purity, appear scattered across the slopes. With its blend of nature and faith, Mount Juhua offers not only breathtaking views, but also a place to rediscover inner peace. With rugged terrain and vertical cliffs stretching for miles, Dehang Grand Canyon holds a raw and powerful beauty that defies simple description. The deep gorges were formed by ancient tectonic shifts, creating massive ravines over 1,300 feet tall, with moss-covered walls and water seeping quietly from stone crevices. Between these cliffs, waterfalls plunge from above, blending with the wind, to form a natural symphony within the mountains. Local traditions tell of sacred rituals once held here by long-established mountain communities, expressing reverence for the forest and rock. Large stone slabs carved with ancient symbols and remnants of old stone terraces remain, believed to be linked to past ceremonial practices. A high suspension bridge spans the valley, offering visitors the sensation of walking in mid-air while viewing the canyon from an extraordinary height. Dehang is more than a grand landscape. It preserves deep layers of cultural memory and mountain spirituality. The mausoleum of Emperor Yan draws visitors with its sacred atmosphere deep within the forest, closely tied to the legendary origins of the Huaxia civilization. The site lies in a quiet mountain area, surrounded by ancient trees that have stood for centuries, creating a solemn and peaceful environment. Historical texts regard Emperor Yan as one of the ancestral founders of the people, credited with teaching agriculture and herbal medicine, making his resting place a site of special cultural importance. The stone steps leading into the complex follow the natural terrain and reach the main hall, which houses ancestral tablets and stone inscriptions honoring his legacy. A continuous sacred flame burns in the temple area, symbolizing the enduring vitality of the nation and the unbroken thread of tradition. Ancestral rituals are still held here on a regular basis, drawing generations of people who return in reverence. The mausoleum of Emperor Yan carries both profound cultural meaning and a deep connection between faith and the surrounding natural world. Yunqiu Mountain is known for its flat peaks, which resemble giant stone platforms rising above layers of white clouds, creating a rare landscape in China's mountainous regions. The area is densely covered in forest with diverse plant life, including many trees that grow directly on vertical cliffs, forming a thick canopy over the ecosystem. Accessing this area is relatively difficult, since most paths are forest trails, with many sections skirting narrow rock edges, steep slopes, and sometimes disappearing under thick vegetation. A strange phenomenon often reported by locals and travelers is the appearance of blue lights inside deep caves at night, with no visible source, sometimes moving gently like living organisms. Many people have also heard soft sounds like wind chimes coming from mountain gaps when fog rolls in, a phenomenon called singing clouds that has no confirmed scientific explanation. Some of the flat stone surfaces at the top of the peaks are almost perfectly symmetrical, showing no signs of carving, leading researchers to suspect they were shaped by extremely rare or unknown geological activity. Wunu Mountain makes a strong impression with its rugged terrain and historical significance, marking the formation of an ancient kingdom, with a stone fortress built on its summit over the 2,000 years ago that still preserves many visible remains. Its terrain has three sides of vertical cliffs, leaving only one narrow path to the top, forming a nearly inaccessible natural defense system. At about 2,690 feet in elevation, ancient architectural foundations, stone steps, and fortress walls still stand, showing a clearly organized defensive structure. A legend tells of 5 young women who bravely gave their lives defending the fortress, and this spirit lives on in the name Wuwunu, meaning 5 women. Today, this place attracts not only hikers, but also those interested in archaeology and historical reenactments within a raw, natural setting. Yunqiu Mountain is known for its flat peaks, which resemble giant stone platforms rising above layers of white clouds, creating a rare landscape in China's mountainous regions. The area is densely covered in forest with diverse plant life, including many trees that grow directly on vertical cliffs, forming a thick canopy over the ecosystem. One of the most notable features is the natural cave system connected to underground streams running through the mountain, forming multi-level waterfalls that drop from about 300 feet and echo through the enclosed spaces. Many people have also heard soft sounds like wind chimes coming from mountain gaps when fog rolls in, a phenomenon called singing clouds that has no confirmed scientific explanation. Some of the flat stone surfaces at the top of the peaks are almost perfectly symmetrical, showing no signs of carving, leading researchers to suspect they were shaped by extremely rare or unknown geological activity. Paektu Mountain is always mentioned for its crater lake called Tianqi, which sits at about 9,012 feet and has a deep blue color that often freezes during winter. The entire area is covered in snow and ice for most of the year, making access to the summit almost entirely dependent on weather conditions. The landscape changes clearly by season, with green pine forests in summer and snow-covered slopes in winter, creating a rare contrast in one terrain. Some rocks around the lake have strange shapes, as if they were melted and frozen again, highlighting the volcano's ancient origins. Sudden weather changes, like unexpected snowfall or strong winds appearing within minutes, often occur at the summit and affect both locals and visitors. The combination of rare landforms, extreme weather, and unexplained phenomena makes this mountain one of the most unique in Asia. Zhangjiajie Wulingyuan is known for its rare vertical sandstone formations, with thousands of stone pillars rising between deep valleys and ancient forests, some over 1,600 feet tall. For centuries, the area remained largely isolated due to steep terrain combined with dense vegetation, and it was not widely explored until the late 20th century. Its most striking feature is the forest of stone towers, formed by millions of years of erosion, creating a vertical landscape rarely found anywhere else. Persistent fog makes the stone pillars appear to float in the clouds, generating intense visual effects and a sense of spatial distortion. Locals believe this was once a retreat for hermits who communicated with divine beings, drawn by the silence, strange echoes, and shifting light within the rock crevices. Few other places in the world combine bizarre geology, microclimatic uniqueness, and an atmosphere as mysterious as Wulingyuan. Tianmen Mountain attracts visitors with its dramatic landscape, where nature has carved a massive heaven's gate through the heart of a towering cliff. The main feature is a natural rock arch over 430 feet high and nearly 190 feet wide, created by a collapsed cliff face that now opens directly into the sky. Beyond its terrain, the mountain is home to temples, shrines, and forest paths paved with stone, turning the visit into a spiritual ascent. Mist often drifts across the slopes and through the archway, giving the entire area an ethereal quality as if it floats beyond the earthly realm. To reach it, visitors must first navigate a mountain road with 99 sharp bends and then climb 9999 steps, numbers symbolizing transcendence toward the sacred. Though widely recognized as a tourism icon, Tianmen Mountain retains its solemn, majestic aura thanks to its steep geography and strict preservation measures. Daocheng is known for its three snow-capped peaks over 19,000 feet tall, which locals worship as sacred guardian deities. In autumn, the vegetation turns bright red and yellow, creating a strong contrast with the white snow on the peaks. A local legend says that only people with pure hearts can see the radiant glow reflecting off the peaks at sunset, seen as a sign of divine blessing. Visitors often choose trekking routes along glacial streams or stop by crystal-clear lakes to see the snowy mountains mirrored on the surface. Many also take part in a pilgrimage walk circling the three peaks, a long journey with deep spiritual meaning. As the morning sun lights up the forest and calm lake, the landscape appears like a vivid painting in the highland sky. Bailey rhododendron is the largest natural rhododendron forest in China, stretching over 100 miles with dense vegetation. The area sits at an elevation of about 5,000 to 6,600 feet, with a cool climate and rich soil that support hundreds of rhododendron species. According to local legend, a girl once waited here for her lover to return from war, and her tears turned into clusters of red rhododendrons. This story is still told during traditional festivals, adding cultural meaning to the natural scenery. Visitors can walk along eco-trails built along the mountain slopes to view the flowers up close and from higher ground. Some viewpoints allow panoramic views of the flower forest stretching to the horizon, perfect for photography and relaxation. What makes Mount Imei truly special is the blend of its dramatic mountain landscape with its central role in the history of Chinese Buddhism. Standing at over 1,000 feet, the mountain features steep cliffs, layers of ancient forests, and suspended waterfalls floating in mist. According to historical records, it is the birthplace of the Imei Buddhist school, with temples built along the slopes from base to summit. Several ancient temples cling to cliffsides, with moss-covered roofs and bronze bells echoing through thick fog. A rare phenomenon known as the Buddha's halo often occurs at the Golden Summit, where refracted sunlight forms a glowing ring around the shadow of a person. The old stone pilgrimage paths remain intact, allowing walkers to follow the steps once taken by monks in their spiritual journey. Mount Emei is not merely a high mountain, but a vivid symbol of the harmony between spiritual devotion and the grandeur of nature. Hailuogu makes a strong impression with its rare glacier, hidden deep within dense forest, where ice and ancient trees share the same mysterious space. Large transparent ice blocks reflect soft light into the forest, creating an unusual visual experience. Geological surveys show that this area experienced intense tectonic shifts, shaping complex terrain and preserving ancient ice layers for tens of thousands of years. Stone foundations scattered near the lower valley still show traces of fire pits and column bases, believed to be remnants of early human habitation. When the sky clears, the entire glacier shines like a giant glass structure resting quietly within the forest. Iluogu is not only a land of ice, but also a place where nature holds on to its deepest layers of time. The uniqueness of the Tengchong volcano area is clearly seen in the intense geothermal activity happening right at the surface, where boiling springs, bubbling mud, and hot gases constantly escape from active vents. On a foundation shaped thousands of years ago, hot springs and thermal pools release steady columns of white steam, carrying a distinct sulfur scent through the air. Stone paths lead deep into the steamy valley, where natural hot water pools shift colors depending on their mineral content, glowing from pale green to golden under sunlight. When the weather cools, the whole area sinks into a fog of rising heat, and the swirling vapor makes the scene look dreamlike. Tengchong is not only a land of heat and fire, but a living map of the Earth's ongoing transformation. The most unique feature of Alshan Mountain and Chai River is the rare landscape shaped by ancient volcanic activity and untouched forests and grasslands. The extinct craters here have become deep valleys and perfectly round lakes with green water lying quietly inside black basalt basins. Clear streams flow gently over rock slopes, passing through waterfalls and narrow gorges, creating natural echoes in the forest. In autumn, the entire area lights up with red and yellow leaves reflected on the still lake surface, forming a picturesque scene. A local legend tells of a creature called the sacred spirit beast that appears when people try to disrupt the forest's balance. Today, visitors can enjoy soaking in hot springs in the wild, hiking through birch forests, or riding slow tourist trains weaving through the mountains to fully experience the untouched and majestic beauty of this rare region. What makes the Wuyi Mountains truly unique is their red sandstone formations, over 200 million years old, with hundreds of rock pillars, deep crevices, and natural arches throughout the area. The terrain was shaped by ancient tectonic activity and erosion, leaving behind massive standalone rocks, narrow valleys, and winding riverbeds. According to Han-era records, Wuyi was once a center for academic and spiritual practice, where scholars and Taoist monks studied scriptures and performed rituals, leaving behind stone carvings, altars, and old temple platforms. Wuyi Mountains are now a strictly protected zone with significant archaeological, geological, religious, and ecological importance. The most notable feature of Langshan lies in its continuous red rock ridges, formed from layers of sandstone and silt compressed over millions of years through geological activity. The mountain structures are marked by flat tops and vertical sides, forming a rare landform known as one flat surface, two steep walls. Many rock masses take on unusual shapes, such as boats, turtles, dragon heads, or human forms, clearly reflecting the intricate forces of nature. Geological records identify Langshan as one of the most representative regions of the Danxia landform, characterized by red sedimentary layers with distinct stratification. In the early morning or after rain, light reflecting off the rock's surface creates vibrant colors, while drifting clouds move close to the cliffs, adding to the shifting atmosphere. Roughly carved ancient paths still run through parts of the mountains, showing evidence of long-standing human activity. Langshan holds both remarkable natural value and traces of deep historical presence, embedded in stone and time. The first thing that stuns anyone arriving at Baishishan Mountain is the towering white stone walls rising into the sky, marked by bold veins like nature's time-stamped carvings. The mountain's geology is composed of extremely rare white sandstone, forming hundreds of massive rock blocks shaped like towers, blades, or tilted slabs along the slopes. At dawn and dusk, light reflects off the rock faces, making the mountainside gleam with silver brilliance, as if the landscape itself is breathing and shifting. Clinging to cliffs hundreds of feet high, a transparent glass walkway lets visitors step above deep gorges surrounded by wind and drifting fog. Plant life clings to the stone cracks, short, thick-leaved species with strange forms, creating vivid green patches in the midst of cold, pale rock. Rarely mentioned on travel maps, Baishishan remains quietly hidden, like a sacred realm yet to be fully revealed by mankind. With its pristine beauty and elevation above 1,400 feet, Shangri-La Scenic Area is one of the few places in China that hosts temperate forests, glacial lakes, and alpine meadows within one continuous ecosystem. What makes this area exceptional is the presence of ancient glacial lakes, nestled in primeval forests, surrounded by limestone mountains and snow pines, creating a cinematic natural landscape. The scenery changes distinctly with the seasons. Spring brings wildflowers, summer reveals endless grasslands, autumn is ablaze with maple leaves, and winter is completely covered in snow, each offering a different world. Pudakuo is home to rare species such as the Asian black bear, snub-nosed monkey, and endangered migratory birds. The blend of sacred atmosphere, unique geography, and complex ecosystems makes Shangri-La feel like a destination outside the bounds of time and space. The most recognizable feature of Mount Wutai is its 5 flat-topped peaks arranged in a plum blossom shape, each averaging over 9,800 feet high, with the tallest often covered in snow year-round. Large green meadows mixed with pine forests and flowing streams create a fresh and expansive setting that attracts visitors for rest and reflection. Although not far from populated areas, the winding roads, fast-changing weather, and thick fog make the journey challenging. A strange phenomenon often mentioned is a floating, blue light appearing at night, or deep footprints in the rock without any sign of people nearby. Stories of circular glowing lights moving across the sky have also been reported, especially on bright moonlit nights. The mountain is so quiet that one can clearly hear the wind blowing through the pines and footsteps echoing across the open grasslands. The symmetrical landscape and mysterious phenomena make this place not just a natural destination, but a spiritual space beyond ordinary travel. The uniqueness of Siguniang Mountain is most visible in its four closely aligned peaks, rising like four female figures guarding the western sky. These mountains range from over 16,000 to 2,000 feet in height, blanketed year-round in snow and heavy mist, creating a sacred and remote atmosphere. Local legend tells of four sisters who turned into mountains to protect their village from evil spirits, making the area deeply revered and spiritually guarded. The landscape shifts with the seasons, featuring ancient forests, glacial lakes, clear streams, and a rich mix of vegetation reflecting nature's constant renewal. Large stones near the base of the peaks bear faint carvings resembling ancient patterns, believed to be traces of past pilgrimages. At sunrise, light filters between the peaks, illuminating the snow and mist with radiant bands that resemble halos. Siguniang Mountain is not only a destination for climbers, but also a place steeped in myth and spiritual tradition. Yulong Snow Mountain stands out as a rare snow-capped peak located at a low latitude, yet its summit remains covered in white year-round, creating a surreal and unusual sight. At over 18,300 feet in elevation, the mountain is not only geographically significant, but also holds spiritual meaning for locals, believed to be the embodiment of a sacred dragon guarding the southwest. What is remarkable is the rapid change in terrain. Within just a few miles, the landscape shifts from temperate pine forests to alpine meadows and then to eternal ice. The upper snow layer is formed by modern glaciers, rare in China, and features deep crevasses and compacted ice formations visible to the naked eye. Although more recognized in recent decades, Yulong Snow Mountain still retains its wild charm and mythical aura, making every ascent feel like a journey through time. Chishui Dangxia is a land of endless red rock formations shaped by erosion into steep walls, deep crevices, and curved arches that reveal the passing of time. The red sandstone layers here date back hundreds of millions of years, with clear stratification exposed like pages of stone shaped by wind and water. Many cliffs resemble boat hulls, animal horns, or open gates, creating a sense of entering a realm beyond the present. Inside scattered rock caves, ancient carvings, drawings, and pottery remains have been discovered, suggesting past habitation and worship. Chishui Dangxia is not only a geological treasure, but also a vivid archive of natural history and human legacy spanning thousands of years. The Gaoligong Mountains stand out as a vital biological corridor in the southwest border region of China, where diverse geography, climate, and ecosystems meet. The terrain includes peaks over 9,800 feet, virgin forests, small glaciers, and deep valleys, creating distinct ecosystems at different altitudes. The climate shifts clearly with elevation, supporting thousands of species, including rare plants and animals found only in this area. Historically, Gaoligong was a key route linking China with South Asia, serving both trade and military purposes. A local legend tells of a giant, divine bird on the mountain that could summon rain, and villagers held rituals to ask for rain during droughts. In spring, rhododendron forests bloom brightly along the mountain slopes, while in autumn, the area glows with red and yellow foliage, creating vivid seasonal scenery.